Hope you're okay if I take off my mask. So welcome everybody, and thank you very much to Christine and Joe who let us have our meeting here. It's the first time we have a meeting. We're very excited, and I think combination of great food and beverages will make it. Thank you. And I will give you a call. So we, oh God.
So as you always do with our EDM is we start off with an introduction of everyone and then we go straight to the ADM part. And then we go on the board. So why don't we just start with you and go around the circle here? Check, please. I think most people know each other. My name is Ted Van.
I'm Manus, and I'm helping out with Blueridge for about a year now.
I'm Nima. I've been with Blueridge for about a year, 3 years. I think you track with me. Really like track with me. That's all. No one told me to do website.
Nope.
I'm Jimmy Foodie, and I've been with Blueridge for 43 years. Love Blueridge. I love the generosity of this time. All these years, the Blueridge takes this community together. Passionate.
Special mention that
I'm Bob Foodie. Also, we 43. Yeah, it's a little different. And this college, I'm a rep on the Blueridge Association Community Advisory Panel, which I have 1 year for it. 3 Zoom meetings. Only know a little bit more about anyway, that's the deal with the getting the waterfront. And rail project.
See you. And I would think.
And sir, please ask everyone to please speak up a bit. People on Zoom can't hear essentially anything.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
So I'm gonna be the loud one, I guess. I'm Lauren Gordunas, and I'm working on the project community platform. We've been in Blueridge community for 16 years, and I've been involved a little bit with the newsletter, Blueridge Good Neighbor Day, and Good Day on Food.
We've done a lot for it, so we, for sure.
I love where we live.
Don't we all?
Okay, well, thank you everyone for, and could we maybe get an idea of how many people are watching on Zoom? Barry said to be watching.
Barry's there.
Not right now. Okay. Hello to everyone. Okay, so what we're doing now is, I don't, Barry, if you can hear me, do you want to say something as our nomination committee since you have been dealing with that?
I'm not sure. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Because we're having difficulty hearing anyone in the room. We did hear Eric's voice, but that's about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right.
So I think you're going to have to really control things at that end versus us contributing via Zoom. It's just the communication isn't very clear.
Could the folks near the back move up closer?
I think they're trying to stay 6 feet apart if they can.
Mm-hmm, but they can still, whatever. They're not.
No.
Barry, can you hear us?
I can hear you. It's the folks
Okay.
beyond.
Okay, so we're gonna work on the sound from our side. If you guys can go ahead, that would be great. Thank you.
Barry, did you have anything you? I didn't hear what you said before. Anybody hear it?
No.
No.
Barry, can you hear us?
I can hear Eric at times, but not all, very few of the other people.
As is what I'm happening to.
Barry, do you want to repeat what you said before about from the nomination committee side?
Can you even hear me?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try again then. Minimize that. Okay. Okay, if you can hear me, from the nominating committee, there was an acknowledgement of the present directors, Annie Danielson, myself, Barry Fenton, Leslie Brooks, Rhoda Irwin, Ted Bancroft, the treasurer, Amy Pankratz, the communications, Ruth Hansen, Nima, Sebri, Lauren Georgianas, Michelle LaRue, volunteer coordinator, and Manez, and Eric is the chair. And as the nominating committee, the proposed board members, fortunately, everyone on the board has agreed to continue with the exception of Michelle LaRue, who's leaving the board and moving out of Blueridge to Vancouver Island. So the proposal would be just quickly, Annie, myself, Leslie, Rhoda, Ted as treasurer, Amy as communications, Ruth, Nima, Lauren, Manaz, and Eric as the chair. And we are adding one new board member, Toby Barrasso. So that would be the recommendations from the nominating committee, and hopefully you can hear me.
What we normally do is we ask a non-board member to move that these people will be directors for the next 12 months. Actually, not 12 months, the next year, which in this case will be less than that because our next DJ May, in other words, for the next period. So we can ask one of you, Paul, you're moving that, and can somebody second that? Somebody second, so. Do we have any discussion? Is there anybody who wants to comment on this or disagreement or? Hearing none? So all those in favor? Okay. Anybody against? So unanimously surprised, but the new board has been confirmed now. So with the exception of Michelle, Toby has now replaced her, and he is not here tonight. I don't think he's on the in the Zoom call.
You see his name up there.
Oh, sorry. Hello, Toby. So we need a note taker for our AGM. So Jeff, you're okay with that? Fantastic. Thanks for doing that. And before I go to the chair's report, which will be very short this year, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Michelle for having come on board. In fact, less than a year ago, because our last AGM was in November, and she's been here for 10 months, and she's done fabulous work for us. I mean, signing up that full volunteer coordinator role is something we should have thought about a long time ago. We did. Nobody jumped on the idea, but you did, and you did such a fabulous job. And I just cannot say how pleased I am that the job you've done has been so pleasant to work with. It's been a total treat to work with you. I'm very sorry to see you leave, but I'm very happy for both of you entering that you're going to the life that you want to do, and hope you'll not forget about us. That's something who, you know, really once in a while, and who knows if you have to be in town. Next one, face to face, we'd love to see you, both of you. But thanks so much. So in the past, what I have done, hi Amy. Maybe show your vaccine. Oh, there you go. So in the past, we've spent, in my opinion, too much time on the actual chair's report. And therefore, I printed it. I have a couple of spare copies for those who have not received them. And also, it is, of course, on the website. And what I'll do this time is just highlight a couple of things that are different from the past, and some of it will be discussed in further detail later. But it has helped greatly, I would say, for our project community that we now have Lauren Borgunis, who does that as her baby and has put a lot of efforts and energy into this. And I think we're just going to see more and more of that happening. So thank you for doing that. You can tell us a little bit more about it later.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention that we have started, as you probably all know, the Blueridge Awards. One award winner sitting here, but we also had 4 other ones. And that is something that Toby, our new board member, came up with that idea. And since he owns award winning, award making company in East Van, he's been kind of doing all the awards we've had so far. We also did something exceptional, which was Bruce Burton's idea of selling the old Blueridge street signs, which generated over $3,000. We also, thanks to the 3rd director who started last year, which is Manaz, we've done amazing work on the Blueridge Business Directory. He will tell us a little bit more about that later. We have, it's a little bit into the next year's work plan, but in a couple of weeks, we have the next creek cleanup on September 26th. And finally, we, after much discussion, managed to get the brochure ready that Leslie, uses primarily for meeting new residents in Blueridge. And other than that, yeah, well, we had a candidates meeting yesterday. I can forget that, just less than 24 hours ago. And then I should also mention for the last couple of items that we have a Blueridge Cares Committee, which we'll also talk about later. And in July, we had a Blueridge Book Club that was initiated. So a lot of new initiatives. People ask me, what can you do in your community association when you have COVID? You have no Blueridge Neighbor Day, you have no Blur, none of that. That's how we've been busier than ever. So thanks to everyone who's contributed in different ways. And that concludes my report for the year, for the 10 months that have gone. And I should just add that, and this is nothing to do with Chair's report, but now we're, as most of you will know, we are a registered society, which is something that the Blueridge Garden asked for, which will enable them to get grants that they couldn't get if they were not part of a registered society. So now we're registered, and they look after everything, including the renewals once a year. So it's an easy job for us. Are there any questions about the Chair's report? If not, then I'll go straight to Ted and ask him to do the financials.
I don't have any handouts for you because I thought I would never be able to cope with two different sources, places, and I know that you may want to fight me for the one copy I've got. I know you're all vitally interested in this stuff. This is for the year ended February 28th. And it was a year that was quite different for us than previous years, and we didn't have the Blueridge Good Neighbor Day nor the dinner on Blue. So we had to resort to other things to keep people busy. And they came up with some real doozers. It was about $8,200 collected in order to satisfy the demand for goodie bags for the hospital workers, the care homes, the fire hall, the police, and the North Shore Rescue. That was $8,200. Then there was a Christmas present time, $5,200 was collected in terms of both money and in kind for distribution to families within the neighborhood that would benefit from this kind of help at Christmas time. So other than that, we managed to increase our cash, which is, I guess, the main thing that we need to worry about, from 19,000 to over 24,000 over the course of the year. This came primarily from the sale of the signs for $3,700 and the newspaper advertising, which has taken off substantially greater, about 5 times, 6 times than it was the previous year, to $1,800. The $1,800 we keep to run the association, which put us into the black for the first time in a long time. And the $3,700 has gone into the education scholarship fund. So our scholarship fund now is sitting at $6,500 because of various activities. The main one being the sale of the signs. But that puts us in pretty good shape when we're giving away $500 a year. So you might want to be looking at increasing that amount or the number of scholarships we give away. So that's that about does it. If you want to look at the numbers or read a little bit more detail of the report, if you send me your email or send it to whoever, everybody must have access to it.
Just the info.
Yeah, send it the info. And if you want, I'll send you copies. They're pretty easy to read. No big deal. But if you want them, I'd be happy to provide them. Are there any questions? Oh, I meant to mention the auditor. I'm sorry. We began about 3 years ago inviting somebody to audit these financials, keep us on the straight and narrow. The local accountant, Tasha Silver, who's just donated her services, and she did this despite having to work through the home time because of the office closed, they're looking after the kids and all that sort of thing. Do this review. Her report was basically complimentary, but she had a couple of points that we can work on improving. But I just want to extend a public thank you to Tasha for stepping up at that particular time, and she's done this, as I say, at least a couple of years. So, thank you, Tasha. Are there any questions?
No,
No?
not at the level we are at. It would be the case if we were a charity. But we have to do it as to where we have our. And really love that. And you're the director.
So the audit is not critical, but.
We just thought it was added a little credibility. Because we're such a small organization, we can't have a lot of double checking going on. Because Eric and I are the only ones that really get numbers, so it's thought it was nice to have somebody else check it out.
It's an absolute fact.
It's a good idea, actually. We should probably do that.
How about a United States?
Sorry about that.
So that's a good idea.
Yes.
Yes. Nice meeting.
Don't think I've had the imagination to think of that. It would take a significant amount of capital fund. And we just don't have that. This is last year we had $3,000 pot. This year we got $6,500 pot, but that was because we had a lot of signs and stuff, which doesn't happen very much. Yeah, maybe we can go fundraise. Yeah.
Could someone repeat what is being said? We can't hear it.
Sorry, my question was about creating a scholarship that could be given out in perpetuity by endowing the money. Whether that was an option. So, thank you.
When we started the scholarship, we only had a certain amount of funding and we were using that the scholarship. But in order to an endowment, we find that we need some people who are willing to donate money. And well,
Get a few more $1,000.
Well, something we could.
we need somebody to do.
I think it's a good idea, and I agree with Ted. I think we need quite a bit, especially today's growing. We want to generate minimum $500 a year. At a 1% interest, you need $50,000, right? We're way from that. But it's a good concept, and we should maybe try and generate more money that we can fund into that. Or do like Ted suggested, is maybe spread it so that instead of having one scholarship, we have two. Right. But thanks for the idea.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to say that I would support what Stacy's suggesting. I don't understand it at all. I'll just be honest. But I've worked with Stacy on a number of different committees and in fundraising, and we've always been able to hit our mark. So I'm sure she has a great idea there. I just don't understand it. At all, actually.
It's a brouillon.
That's okay. That's not my, yeah, there we go.
What I'm trying to say is maybe we can discuss that at some stage, later stage. and see what- I have a little bit of background in endowments and scholarships, those kinds of things. And as was mentioned, that it may change the status of the organization, charitable status. If we start raising significant amounts of money, and then that amount of money has to be returned. I know, I think the Vancouver Foundation will allow you to set up an account, which would meet that obligation. In other words, I forget the number now, but you have to return about 80% of the money raised in a year. If you give it to the Vancouver Foundation, that counts as a donation, and they manage your endowment. But whoever is involved, there is probably the resources within the community to do a one-time blitz and of businesses, not just people who operate business in the community, but who live in the community with major businesses and with capacity to donate money to create an endowment. And the kind of numbers you're talking about, 100,000 or so would probably equal to what at least right now, and maybe more. And I know that when we were dealing with our scholarships, we've been given $500 for a number of years. And looking at post-secondary costs and fees and so forth, that $500 doesn't go very far anymore. So $500 is nice, it's a token amount, right? Hate to belittle it, but it is a token amount in terms of the gross expenses that a student would earn. But an endowment is possible, and it can be set up, may change the status, society status of this organization. May not, I don't know what the threshold is.
I would say manage the endowment.
Well,
They manage, they give you an expected amount of income that the endowment earns each year, and normally you could top it up. So if it earns $200 in income, we only would have to fundraise $300 and then give away a $500 scholarship. And that $200 would be given out forever. So if we all win the lottery and run away, and no one wants to take it on. Students in Blueridge and that live here can still benefit from scholarship. Anyway, we can talk about it later. Please move on.
Okay, so anything else to do with finances, since we are here with Ted? But thanks for raising that question. That's very good. Okay, hearing none, let's carry on to the new activities. This is the new things we've been doing this year, and maybe a little bit more detailed than what I explained in the chair's report. So the first one will be Blueridge community care packages, and I had a little confusion about who was involved with it or not. I know I thought Ruth was, and she wasn't. So maybe Michelle, you did it. You're in the Manaza thing.
Yeah.
So maybe you can explain.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No, that's fine. I wasn't involved in the first one, but I was involved in the second one. So just to give a little more detail, Ted touched on some numbers, but when COVID first hit in the spring, a group of people very quickly, very organically got together and wanted to help all of the healthcare workers. And I think, Amy, you were a big part of that. So if you have anything to add, please put up your hand and let me know if I miss anything. But so there were gift bags put together, and we had donations from people, just individual residents, also businesses in the area. And we had goodie bags go out to the emergency room staff at Lionsgate Hospital, the staff at the Berkeley Care Center, which got hit with an outbreak as well. And then the RCMP, the firemen and staff at the Lynn Valley Station, and also North Shore Rescue. all of those people at those organizations were very, very grateful. I know we made the North Shore News, right, from that. So everyone was very, very grateful. The second thing that we did, and again, came together very quickly, very organically, is we recognized that this year Christmas would be different for a lot of people. A lot of people were suffering, out of work, and needed a little help. And although we're in a quite affluent area, there are still people who were struggling. So we collected over $5,000 worth of gifts and cash, and put together packages for 5 families who were in the area, and made a big, big difference. So it just goes to show the generosity of our community was amazing. I think even more than the numbers of the cash that we generated, we had almost 75 people either helping out or donating. So I think that says just so much about our community. Christmas is coming up, so I'm not sure who wants to take on Blueridge Cares at Christmas this year, but I think based on last year, it's about the time to start now rather than November 15th. That's it. Any questions on Blueridge Cares?
Would you like to add something?
They can't hear you with the only.
Okay. Can you see me now? I just wanted to add that one other receiving organization or whatever, the RCMP couldn't take pizza. There was supposed to be a pizza lunch, so they nominated the Lookout Society, which got a huge donation of pizza and a bunch of drinks or whatever, courtesy of a pizzeria, the vegan place down at Lonsdale Key. And apparently that was amazing and very appreciated by the Lookout Society. So that was one more. That's it. Thank you.
I forgot you got that. That was the North Shore Rescue. It's the only place to go. Okay, well, thanks again for everyone who participated, and at the same time, thanks for the reminder that Christmas is coming. So very good, excellent initiative, I think. All right, the next one is communications and the new website. So I think we would have maybe Amy start up, and then our new speaker, Jeff. Yeah. You're doing so much, Amy. So go ahead and tell us.
All right, so just a couple mentions about the communications. We still have Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, our website, the Blueridge Bulletin, which is our once-a-month email that goes out, and the newsletter, which comes out 3 times a year. That's the hard copy that's delivered to home. Nothing really new to report on the social media, and it's pretty much the same as we have been doing for a while now, trying to do a daily post, trying to get an assistant to help with creating images and scheduling posts in, so there's no delays, there's just consistency there, which will be great when we get that. I really wanted to say thank you to Manas and Jeff and Michelle, because without you guys, we would not have a communications team. It has now become a department, like Manas refers it to, so it's really quite cool. Yeah, so if you know anybody who's really creative, and young or old, doesn't matter, we are looking for an assistant for that. And I did have, the one other thing I just wanted to say was, because of the society, with the whatever that was enabling us to do, I was able to apply for a program through Alacrity Canada, which is a social media marketing program. And so it's actually quite a big deal to me. And hopefully I'm able to, as I take that program, then give back to the society a lot better, and hopefully you'll see the results with the social media. So thank you. Over to you, Jeff and Manas.
Hello, to those of you on the website. I'm not ignoring you. So for those who hadn't seen the email blast, we did push the new website live on the 9th of September. This is a lot of work, but it still needs more. There's a lot of rough edges. It needs a lot more data. It is a lot more things that are still coming. And several people have heard me describe this as software archaeology, going back through, not even Kewen and I have, neither Kewen nor I knows how many people have worked on this before we got to it. And the breadcrumbs left behind are wide and deep. So there's a lot of trying to dig out, figure out what's going on, get things back together, get things working smoothly. We're making good progress, and hopefully you're starting to see that on the website itself. There's a lot more content out there. I encourage you all to go visit it, blueridgeca.org. Go visit it, look around, and then send me an email, webmaster@blueridgeca.org, and tell me what you found that's wrong, what's missing and needs to be added, what didn't make sense, anything, so that I can go fix it, because by and large, it sprang from the forehead of Zeus, like Athena, fully armed and ready to go, and nobody saw it for the longest time for all kinds of reasons, some of them technological. So I need eyes and I need feedback. So please spend some time there, wander around in it, tell me what makes sense and what doesn't. I'll take any feedback I can get. I can't promise to fix everything, because somebody will tell me A and somebody will tell me not A. But I'll do my very best to make it more usable and contain more of what we all need. And I am practically updating it daily at this point, at least the homepage. Every time something important's coming up, the homepage gets an update. News posts go out with important things on it. So look for changes, because they are happening. So thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah.
Any questions about the website?
Please. gmail.com. That's my email. Use it.
Okay, in that case, we'll carry on and back to Michelle and talk a little bit about what you have achieved and the wonderful work you've done. And what you have to say yourself, about the volunteer coordinator, and also passing the
torch. Yeah. So when I took on the role, sort of I guess the biggest thing that I wanted to accomplish was just have a communication tool to be able to organize all of our volunteer effort. So we do have a full database of all of our volunteers now in one spot. So we have about 185 people that are in our volunteer database. I think there's more that we probably don't know of from years past that could go in there, but what this allows us to do is really quickly communicate with our volunteers. We also know what they've volunteered for in the past. So if they volunteered for the garden or newsletter delivery, so that we can communicate with them quickly about things that they might be interested in. We've also got, thanks to Jeff, our volunteer opportunities page is up and live, so it's always being updated with current volunteer opportunities. And right now there are 4, I believe, opportunities up there. We've got the volunteer coordinator role, because Stacy said she is interim, but you're gonna love it so much, Stacy. It's gonna be filled, I know it. Amy talked about the social media assistant. So we think this would be somebody who maybe a student who's in journalism might be a good person, or anybody who's interested in social media marketing communications. We always have newsletter delivery up there because we're always looking for people to supplement our list. And then we have project community specialists to, I think that's an exciting role, actually, to help Lauren sort of source vendors and organize the offers, etc. That will go out to our residents. So those are the 4 opportunities we have now. Yeah, that's the submission with the social media assistant, isn't it? Are they both listed? All right. Okay. So we'll take 5 of them. And then we also have a place where you can just click future opportunities. So if you go onto the website, you can say, None of these interest me, but I want to be on the database so I can hear about future opportunities. So you just click that and get onto there. So I think that really helped organize, get things quick, volunteers quickly, and we've been successful in finding volunteers for lots of different opportunities. You know, we had a lot of interest, I would say, right up till July, when it just went quiet, because everybody had the opportunity to go, you know, traveling in the summer with their families, and everything opened up. So it's been really quiet over the summer. So I think we need to sort of kind of get the word out again that Blueridge Community Association is here, and it's fun to volunteer, and there's opportunities available. So I think that's it. So Stacy and I have done a Passover, and so as of today, she's monitoring the volunteer email and passing it over to her.
I have nothing to say. I look forward to temporarily filling in the job until someone else do it. I don't have a ton of time, so but happy to help.
Well, let me just add that when we heard the, should I say, bad news that Michelle was leaving, we had to find something. And scratched my head and I thought, who is the second most well-organized person in this, maybe in the world, but certainly in Blueridge? And your name came to my mind. I have worked with Stacy, as she mentioned before, for the Blueridge Good Neighbor Day events in the past. And oh my goodness, she is organized, and so are you. So it was not difficult to find, and thank goodness you agreed to do it, even if it's only on a temporary basis. But I remember when you said that about the auction, the sound auction at Blueridge Good Neighbor Day. I'll only do it 1 year, and she did it for the next 5 years, so 8 years. It was temporary. Well, who knows? Maybe we'll find someone who will take it over. But in the meanwhile, I think we were in good hands with that. And plus, Stacy had a lot of good contacts and networks in the community, because her daughter goes to school, and all counting and so on, tax. So I think it's a good replacement. Thank you, Stacy, and again, thank you so much, Michelle, for all you've done. Project Community, tell us a little bit about what you've been thinking of doing and done.
So Project Community, for some of us who don't understand, is my vision is it's a 12-month invitation to solicit businesses to come into Blueridge en masse. So instead of having, for instance, right now we have Take a Bow, which is a arborist and sort of landscaping company. And we also have Eaton's Heating. So they come into our community and they offer a special discount. And the reason for that, or we've approached them saying, look, you don't have to go in a day to Burnaby and then, you know, North Van and Coquitlam and then over to West Van. So you can concentrate into Blueridge, all of your resources, and then just go house to house. So with that, they are quite interested in offering discounts. I'm always looking for new ideas for what comes up, and we can do it monthly through Blueridge Bulletin. We can do it quarterly through the newsletter, and just lots and lots of ideas. I am actively hoping to get an eager assistant or two to help with just creating. I've got the ideas. Sometimes I just need help with the connection piece or the organizing of it. I've put out emails and notices of asking for ideas. And I hear back from some of you. I'd love to hear back from every one of you. I'd love to get a handful of what's on your list that you do almost automatically. Like a gardener comes in and does certain things for you, thatching and whatnot, or or someone comes in and does your gutters, or someone else is doing an irrigation system, and that was fantastic, or you've had the attic cleared and you're having insulation put in. And so, you know, I do my due diligence in finding out that they're reputable and whatnot, and if we can get rebates, then we'll get rebates. But I would love to hear from every one of you and give me a handful of ideas, and I'll knock it off sort of seasonally, what makes sense. And does it make sense now for someone to start building a deck when maybe the prices are lower than they were in the spring when everyone's building a deck? And so things like that. That would be fantastic. The businesses are super keen. They're thrilled with this idea. Pest control is another one. So lots and lots of ideas. Jeff and I have been talking about doing a calendar outside of Project Community that's just, here's 12 things I do in the month of September for my home. You know, be proud, here we are in Blueridge. It's a phenomenal place, best place in the world to live. And I mean, it's just gonna help our neighborhood and our community, and real estate prices go up. So, Jeff and I need to have a sit down, and we'll go through a calendar. And again, that's another thing. You know, what do you do in September? What do you do in October? Things on your own. You know, is it that you do certain things to your washing machine? Is it that you take your vacuum apart and do little things? Just little things like that, not big company things, just little house maintenance things that are somewhat necessary to allow all of the different appliances or just your home to look better by painting baseboards or something. That's Project Community. I'm excited about it. I would love to get some help with it. And that's it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, questions? I would like, actually love just a few quick questions. Would be great. Amy?
So if somebody has, I know I've mentioned to you, but there's often, you know, what do you use for dog walking kind of a thing, or name a local cleaner. And so then there's a whole bunch of recommendations. So if somebody here or somebody on Facebook has an awesome recommendation for a house cleaner, should we let you know, hey, if this person is doing house cleaning in the area 5 homes a day, whatever, but you know of names and companies that would potentially be interested. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm one to post often, you know, looking for a handyman, or I need a cleaner, or, you know, but I don't know. I don't know about that. Let's talk about that. Let's put it out to the group, see what they think. I was thinking bigger companies coming in, but I'm all for promoting people that live in Blueridge and their businesses, live in North Vancouver and their businesses, keeping it local, not having to deal with traffic.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and that's the thing, is then you give a cleaner probably your
absolutely.
value.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Yeah.
Have you promoted your own business?
Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you, Judy, for bringing that up.
So it's interesting. I hired her, and I'm a procrastinator when it comes to my own house. Yes, I stage all the other people's houses that I sell, and they look beautiful. But my house, after 43 years of living and collecting my daughter's stuff and other people's stuff that I've sold that ends up in my house, Lauren said, I will do it. And in comes her son and a truck and a U-Haul, and from the back of our house, under in our garage, and just stuff. It's amazing what you accumulate in, 43 years. Yeah. And thankfully, Lauren said she will do it, and she posts it online and tells what she can, and the rest we can donate. But the books that you accumulate over 43 years, oh my goodness, and they just went all out the door. And I you haven't looked at them for 40 years or 30 years or 20 years. What are they doing? So thank you for Lauren and her. She's got a business, the decluttering and helping to unclutter your minds and your house. And as you get older, you become less interested and even looking at it, you fill up a room and close the door and you don't even think about it anymore. But thank you, Laura. And I don't know what I would have done with it. It keeps accumulating. So it was a great start, and I think that would be a great one even to promote your own business.
Thank you to Judy and Paul. It was fantastic working for you. You're well on your way. You have such a beautiful home, and yeah, I love what I do. Sorted organizing, and maybe through Manaz and Amy and Jeff, I'll get my company name out there. They've been on my back for this, and this summer just blew up. It got a little busy with work, and I love what I do. So if I can do more of that within the community and not travel, then you know, that could be my mandate as well.
So you're saying you're still not on the directory?
I'm still not on this directory.
Oh,
It's okay. And Manaz, I know, she comes knocking at my door, holds my hand. Let's do this. I like to promote lots of things, maybe just not myself 100%. I'm working on it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Judy.
Good homes, good job.
Okay, next we'll try and see if we can get Toby on and to tell us a little bit about the Blueridge Awards and also sort of what you see going forward.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. So hi everyone, I'm Toby. I'm a new board member and excited to take more part in all the things that you guys are up to. But the idea of the Blueridge Awards kind of came after talking to Eric a few times and kind of understanding about you know, what the community is trying to do in terms of grow community and make Blueridge a more I guess active area and active community. And so just from my experience, I know that one way that you can do that is through recognizing and celebrating the people that are doing the things that your community values. Kind of highlighting the people that are kind of, I guess, living those ideals or doing the things that are appreciated in the community. So we started off this year, I think, just with this new idea of trying to recognize some of the local residents and community members who are doing good things. And like any new program, I think, you know, there was a few rough spots here and there, but I think overall, from what I saw, it worked out pretty well. I think Michelle and Manaz really did a lot of the groundwork. So I was kind of more just in the background and kind of getting the idea going. But from what I hear, the people that were recognized really appreciated it. And I think it created a lot of good positive energy out there. And I think that's something that can certainly just be built upon, you know, if we continue on in the years ahead. And as more people kind of find out about it, I think it just kind of maybe more attention will be drawn to it, more nominations each year. And then people just kind of see, oh, this is something that people are doing or keeping an eye on. And I think it just kind of helps encourage people to get a little bit more involved, not for the recognition, but just because they know that there are people out there that are caring about those things. So that's kind of in a nutshell, the idea behind the Blueridge Community Awards. And I don't know if anyone else wants to add anything to it. I think it was Michelle and that was presenting the actual awards. So she kind of saw more maybe firsthand about people's reactions, maybe Eric as well. So I'll kind of just leave it at that.
Yeah, thanks, Toby, and thanks again for donating those awards. I think Eric and I went together to hand out there were 5 different awards, everything from Outstanding Neighbor to the Sponsor Award, which Judy Colleen received. And everybody was thrilled. Everybody invited us in. We had a little chit chat or coffee with everybody. They really wanted to take the time and chat. And that was kind of took me by surprise. I thought that was really, really nice. And the idea is that we will do this on an annual basis. And I think there's been discussion around sort of announcing the winners at Good Neighbor Day, which I think will really put it in the spotlight, and then maybe we'll like we got good nominations this year for the first year, but it would be nice to get a lot of nominations and maybe even one, and there's one other award that we're thinking about, which is recognizing young students who volunteer. Just with COVID this year, it was just the schools just couldn't grasp it this year. So hopefully we'll be able to add that in the future. So.
Great. Any questions about the awards from anyone? Well, now I'm going to ask you to turn that video again towards yourself because now it's your turn. You're on the spot.
Okay, well, so my name is Naz, and I started the Blueridge business directory at the beginning of the pandemic. I can't remember how long ago that was now. And we started small. It's a Google form, which you can basically fill out, and then that goes directly onto the website with your business. And we've got different categories. So we've got products, and we've got services, and we also have businesses that are nearby Blueridge. So at the moment, we've got 31 businesses that operate within Blueridge, and we've got 7 neighboring businesses that we've got listed there. In addition to that, we also feature them on our social media. So every Saturday, we have spotlight on our local businesses. And that just gives you a little bit more information about each one of the businesses, what they do, and who they are, the people behind the business. So it's really great to kind of spread the word about them. And we'd love if you guys know any other businesses that are not on the directory, please tell them to go onto the website. The form is at the bottom of the local business directory page. Fill that out, then they will automatically be within a couple of days on the website, and then they'll get queued in for the social media rotation. We love to support local, and the whole thing is next time you're looking to either buy something or get a service, go look on the Blueridge directory first, support local, see if there's someone you want to use there, and then otherwise then go on to other businesses. Thank you. Any questions?
How much does it cost to list my business?
It is absolutely free. There is no charges. The website directory is for free, and the spotlight is also for free as well.
Well, it's a great initiative. Thanks for taking the lead on that. And I hope everybody listens. So hopefully you will add a lot more names in the future, although it's probably limited how many companies are operating from here, but you never know. You already
It's
found
not surprising how many is up.
32.
Yeah, there you go, 32. I think we can.
You list your business, then you get featured on the social media, and so you'll get across social media, and they'll come out and feature you again. And then you're on the website, and other, well, then you have the option of going to politics too.
But we provide a discount.
Oh, you do? Full of issues.
Okay, well, thanks again for that initiative. That is really a wonderful thing for our local community. So just briefly, for those of you who are not totally aware of this, but the reason that we had to kind of rush with the September newsletter was because of the election, the federal election, that prompted us, as we always do and have done since the late 90s, but we had to have an all candidates meeting, which took place yesterday, and some of you were there. But the reason was what it caused for us was a bit more rush. And although we did have actually quite a number of articles that could and maybe should have gone in there, our editor just simply said, sorry, I can't go with eight pages, so we'll have to do with 4. I think it's a great newsletter the way it is, but it's always a little bit frustrating both for Michael and for myself when we know there's more out there that could have been there, but we had to kind of, unfortunately yours, which I consider one of the urgent ones, did not get in there about the project community. We had a bit of a, let's say, discussion about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, everything else except for your article that was postponed was not in any ways time sensitive. So we'll include it in the newsletter in the spring.
Hopefully there'll be one in March where we can advertise Blueridge Good Neighbor Day, hoping it will take place. But that's the reason why this newsletter was half the size of the ones we've had earlier in the year. So we'll all have to live with that. So I just wanted to give a little bit of background here. So we have about 15, 20 minutes left. And I added a couple of things on the agenda here about possible new initiatives that we can talk about. We already had some good discussions about things that we hadn't planned on discussing, including what you brought up about the Vancouver Foundation. But I would like to hear if anybody has any ideas that something we can add to our sort of work plan for the next period of time. Our next AGM will be in May, so it's not quite a full year, but it certainly is the busy time of the year between this time, September and early spring. So if you have any ideas, one thing that I would like to push for, but that will have to be at a time when it's completely safe to meet and without a mask, the whole meeting. But if we could have a workshop, I know Ruth, you were part of it when we had that, what, 5, 6 years ago? Ruth was our moderator. She did a totally fabulous job. And I think we achieved so many things, including the scholarship. The whole concept of the scholarship came from that. And what we did at the time was we invited anybody who's interested, of course, the board, but also just members of the public, of the association, who'd come and join us. And we had about 15 people. And it was very, very worthwhile doing it in a confined environment so that people stay focused. And we had lots of different, well, you had little games to start getting us to know each other, which was great because we had some new board members. But we had it at Canland, but of course now we have a wonderful place here. Who knows, we could talk with Joe and Christine and find time, but it could work. We could do something here. So, but at this point, I don't think we want to do it because it's still the risk of COVID is too great. But hopefully into 2022, we'll be able to do something because it's something that gave us so much. And it also created, I think, a little bit of more bonding between board members and just getting to know each other. And so I would really, really like to see that happen. And I know it's a bit of a time commitment, 4 hours. So it was essentially from 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 in the afternoon, including lunch, which of course will be hard to do here, but we'll find a way, Christine, so we can try and do it here. I would like to do it support flow. We always like to do that. So this is just one of the ideas. Also, I would like to, personally, I've been getting more and more convinced that we've got to start thinking of this concept that's called Fire Smart. Really the same as Block Watch, but it is to do with the fire risk. And we are living in fire risk zone. They have 3 different categories for Blueridge. People like Ruth probably lives in the most dangerous. And then people living, believe it or not, across the street from me are in the 2nd zone and I'm in the 3rd zone. But I think the trees are so tall that even if there's a fire across the street from me, I could also catch fire in my house. So I think we have to work more on that. But this is just because I think it's something for safety, the public and of the safety of the public. So I would really like to see some of that. But anyways, I'm not here to talk. I've already done too much talking, but I would really like to hear what ideas you may have that we can add to our work plan, and maybe we can establish a committee to come up with some good ideas. So,
Eric,
questions.
can I make a comment, Marcia? Hello, I'm on Zoom. No, I read that whole item about the fire, and I'm looking at cedars on my front lawn, and wondering, I don't know where to start. Like, do we have to cut back all our trees? I mean, I know you said that certain areas are more likely to burn than others, but that's the kind of thing that I would like to discuss, or to figure out, when am I going to do it? How do I do it? Do I have to cut the tree down? Does that make any sense?
If I cannot just answer your question, Marcia, we had recently, actually at our block party, which was on the long weekend, we had the fire captain who is in charge of the Fire Smart program came out. And we had a great discussion with her. Of course, she would like to see this reach out to more people in the community. So what we're trying to do right now is to establish a small committee. We already have a couple of people who have expressed interest in being on that committee, because they would be able to answer the questions that you're asking, and which I'm sure many other people be asking as well, and others. So if you're interested, send me an email and maybe we can add you to the committee. It's not going to be something that they're going to have monthly meetings and things like that. They just would like to establish how we can get the word out better to the community, to everybody who, particularly of course in the most dangerous zone near the trees, but it applies to all of us. This is, I mean, you know how dry it was.
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah.
The fire, it just spreads like, well, you know what? So send me an email if you want to be part of it, and that goes for anybody else. So we can try and see if we can get just a small group, maybe a handful of people who will be having maybe a couple of Zoom meetings and then decide how to do it.
Okay, well, I'll email you. Yeah. Thank you.
Health restrictions, etc., or eased in the new year, that we might start planning in January, February,
Absolutely.
or earlier. There's gonna be a big party as soon as we can have it.
You should take all the parties out.
Oh,
The meetings are.
the meetings are great. If you like wine, and the after party has been known to get out of hand. Just me and Eric, though. Eric and me. Yeah.
We will have to work on that, but again, it has to be, we have to know we can do it.
I think I need to chime in a little bit about Project Community because they weren't featured in the newsletter that just came out. There's a fair bit of relationship on my part when I engage with companies that inevitably I choose through hearing what everybody wants. And I spend time with these companies discussing and whatnot. Some of them, like Eaton's Heating, has been in the neighborhood for years. So that wasn't really it. But Take a Bow, for instance, who I have had work for me, is phenomenal. They're a young family. They just had a baby. And I feel so committed to trying to get them business now that I have them on board, but they weren't featured in the newsletter. So I feel quite badly about that. I did see that it came out in Blueridge Bulletin this week, or something, which is fantastic. But I'd like to see that more. And I know that we have had a hit or two about somebody interested in a service or both, which is great. But ideally, we're wanting to be on board with this. And I don't know, I am not a techie media whiz guru person. So I would like to get it out there more so and really promote them. And then going forward, I'm going to say the same thing. Here we are in September. Who am I going to feature in October and November and December? And then who's going to be the big one for the season? And then on and on it goes. So it was too bad that it didn't get into the newsletter. I think it's really important. And I'm open to hearing suggestions and options from others within the group and via Zoom with regards to how we can support the businesses that have committed to give us a discount because they're coming into our community now, kind of thing.
You could use the newsletter distribution group, like just do a simple flyer.
Yep.
I don't know, Eric, and see if the newsletter group would
walk around again.
It's a big ask because we've done it 3 times this year. And I know even for this newsletter, although you were not, I know you volunteered service, somehow it didn't pan out with you, Judy. But we were short volunteers, and then when I sent a second request, then
all got covered, all the routes got covered. So I don't know,
I think what we could do is reach out to some of the youth. I do a lot of work with youth. And so just ask them to hit the pavement, boots running. It took me, I don't know, less than an hour to do my almost 3 streets, 2.5 streets. And maybe a couple of them could do that. We have 1,500 approximate homes. So I don't know that it would be that difficult to get a dozen. How many people actually do the newsletter when there's 1,500 homes?
26 routes.
Okay, so we would need 30.
Well, we can use the social media, and that does get pushed out on Facebook, and it's on the website as well. So we are doing the digital way as well.
Yeah.
And I think me and you need to have a conversation on how to expand Project Community for social media. And I think more and more as we see the numbers are rising, that means a lot of our residents, and not all of them, but more and more we are seeing most of our residents going to either Facebook or thank you, sorry, Instagram. So that will be helpful. And with the website being constantly updated, that also will make a difference. So if we just tell everyone to go look at those avenues. And the other one that I was just thinking is actually just putting that, we can do like a newsletter where it would be on Twitter as well. So, I mean, best way to touch bases is all of that. And it's been in the bulletin. And a lot of people that have used them before will start looking for them because like it's winter time and Eaton's has been around, I think, for 2 or 3 winters already.
6 years.
Well, there you go. I knew about 3 years. So, we will look for them. So yeah, just spread the word to look on the digital platforms. I think would be helpful.
Maybe there's, we have 600 people who receive digital. Okay. Various articles and the links provided and who's clicking on what, who clicked on this, who clicked on that. And there's a lot of people that go through the project. Out of those 600 that are actually. I think my question is, do you think everyone understands it? Oh, you looked at it.
I think we need to do a little bit. I think we lack a little bit more communication and education of what the goal of it is. And I think that's where we need to sit down and maybe just build a better foundation about what Project Community is about. I think so too. Yeah, Project Community kind of gives me the idea we're helping and supporting, whereas this is a little bit different.
Okay, so new names. I need new ideas and new names. Give it to me.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I add something? And I've been at fault here, and this is way before we got involved with now the X Project Community. But at one point, the intention was, and this is something that I thought of, I contacted the parties who had helped us, would come out with their services before. I asked them all, are you okay if we list you with your name, contact details, and so on, to say that you've been out here? That does not necessarily mean that you will forever have to give a special discount, because if you're not out here, then you may or you may not decide to do that because it's not under the umbrella of the community. But would you agree to be listed? Not a surprise, they all said, of course, I wouldn't mind that. Now, I never got my act together to give whoever was doing the website at the time, so it's maybe a year ago or so, and all the details. But I think if we had that, including the chimney, like the guy who's not doing the fireplace, but the chimney cleaning, he does it, in December, January. He was keen to, and you have now added some that we've been doing. So if we had a list, maybe starting with probably about 6 or 7, 8 companies who have done it so far. Like every time you come up with a new company that you think would be good, add them to the list. So finally, you could maybe have 30 or 40 companies listed over time. And this way people could sort of quickly get in there. Of course, we have to make sure that the companies are doing a good job and are not taking people to clean it because they think it's a capital market. But if we did something like that with the other things you suggested, maybe we can build up more loyalty and more interest in it.
I was just
Sorry, I'm just, excuse me, I apologize. The batteries of all of our equipment is running out, where I'm at like sitting at 2%. So could we maybe take that off? Sorry, excuse me for interrupting. Do we want to maybe wrap this up so that before
Sure.
everything dies out?
Yeah, no. Thank you, everyone, for coming up here. And I forgot to mention before that, which I always say, but I forgot, that it's only because of volunteers that we have this association that's been, I think, growing and done a fantastic job. But this is something that you can all take pride of, because it's without you, without all the volunteers we have, all the functions, it wouldn't happen. So thank you, all of you, and thanks for coming out tonight. Thanks to Christine and Joe for having us here, and good night, everyone.
Thank you.